us to the rest of the news. Since 2001, our nation has laid off 50,000 manufacturing jobs every single month. Also, since 2001, 42,000 American factories have been forced to shut down as CEOs look overseas for cheaper labor and fewer environmental regulations. In the last decade, the United States' manufacturing base has been decimated. Without it, we're no longer able to produce actual wealth on our own, and our trade deficits with other nations have exploded, fueling a massive national debt. The historic loss of a manufacturing sector is one of the greatest challenges facing our nation today. And now one man might have an answer about how to rebuild our crumbling manufacturing base. And it's a solution as simple as new product labels. Joining me now to talk about how to bring back manufacturing jobs is Alan UK, owner of Underwater Kinetics and author of the book, Buying America Back. Alan, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Great to have you. You are a Republican. I'm a Democrat. This is not about politics.
No, it's actually about just living in America and looking out for America's future.
So how do we do this?
Well, 2/3 of the economy is consumer spending. And the one thing they haven't tried to do right now is to try to give information to consumers about where their money's going when they buy something. And the laws they have right now for labeling are decades old, and they're no longer appropriate, and they actually have been played with so many times that they don't mean much anymore.
So you're talking about if I buy something, there'll be a single little label on it that says made in Japan, made in Malaysia, made in the United States.
Well, as an example of made in the United States, you can have like 90% Chinese components, bring it here, assemble it, and claim it's made in the United States because the rule says last significant transformation is the source, is the destiny.
Is that why they I don't know if they're still doing it, but for a while, Dell, for example, was assembling computers down in Texas.
Right. So that label doesn't mean as much as it should. And what I want to do is have percentage of content by country. So it's like a food label. You see how many calories it has and how much fat and how much carbohydrates. You'd see what percentage of content's coming from where. And so when you buy it, you know it's, what the spread is, if there's any American content. And also next it would have our trade ratios, which is our relationship of how much we buy versus we sell to them. So you can see if these countries that have other components and percentages in there are fair traders with us. And I'm not against trade, it's just that it has to be balanced.
Sure, I totally agree. Yeah. So a trade ratio, if you were buying something from the United States, would be presumably 1, right?
Yes,
1 to 1.
Our own is, yes.
So I'm guessing you know the stuff off the top of your head. What is our trade ratio? What are our trade ratios with our major trading partners?
Well, I'll give you an example. About the worst is China. It's 25%. So for every dollar that we buy from them, they buy 25 cents from us. They
so
try not to
5-to-1 ratio.
Well, no, 4-to-1.
Oh, 4-to-1. I'm sorry.
But their biggest imports are scrap steel and paper. They try not to buy manufactured things in the United States. So if you buy something from Korea, for example, it's 79%. So if you buy a Korean television, 79% bounces back in the United States. For Chinese television, only 25% bounces back in the United States. So you can help the economy just by picking where you're importing the products from.
Now, this is not, this may seem like a new, novel, or strange idea to Americans, but it's not to Japanese, it's not to South Koreans, it's not to Taiwanese, it's not to Chinese, if I understand correctly from what I read in your book.
Right. They are very nationalistic in their purchases. And if they can get something made in their own country, they will do it. And even if they pay more or it's not as good, Americans basically don't give that kind of home team favor to their own products.
But in many cases, Americans don't have a clue.
Well, largely because the label, they play this game, which, by the way, is not allowed in other countries, whereby it could be made anywhere. They can just run it through some process here and then claim it's American-made. Right. In fact, an opposite one is the iPhone. It says made in China, but actually there's more American content in an iPhone than there is Chinese. It's just assembled there.
Oh, that's interesting.
So the labels don't mean anything anymore, and that's why we need this new label, because you don't really know even with that label where it's coming from, and this new one will give you all this information so you can make a rational decision.
We have just a couple seconds left. Have you gotten any interest from anybody in Congress?
Oh, yes.
From either party?
Yes, I have, both parties, and we're putting together a coalition to put a bipartisan bill through.
That's great. Alan, I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Good luck.
Thank you.